recently Tinder announced that they are going to add height filter preferences, and a lot of people are actually very upset by this. And I don't think they need to be. I actually think that this is something you really, if you are not gifted in the realms of height, you don't need to be that worried about this. And really, you shouldn't be using Tinder at all. So I'm 5'9". I'm completely average, and so my height has never been anything of any particular note. I'm not tall, I'm not short, I'm completely in the middle. But I've had lots of friends over the years who are short and who are tall, and I don't know in real life how much I think height actually makes that much of a difference. So, as a completely average guy, I've always had girlfriends. I've always been able to get girlfriends. I've never felt that I just was unable to get female attention, even with a face like mine. So, surely it can't be that bad out there for the rest of you. But also, I've known lots of guys who are below average height, sort of 5'6", 5'7", and 5'5", who themselves have always managed to get very attractive girlfriends, and I've been like, oh, that's well done. And so the height thing hasn't been such an issue, because I think it's dependent on the context. So there are always going to be like a portion of women, whatever percentage of women, who are particularly concerned about height because they feel protected or whatever it is that a guy's height gives them. So the height itself is one feature about the man that they think of. But then there are also other features about you that women are concerned about. And so if for whatever portion of women it is, that height is the most important thing. If you're not a tall guy, then that's just those women off the table for you. In the same way that if a woman's particularly interested in having a really skinny guy, she's just off the table for me too. You know what I mean? Like that was never a woman I was ever going to have a relationship with. And this is totally normal, because when you meet women in real life, there are many more important things about you than numerical characteristics. And actually, I think that there's something a bit wrong with conceding the ground of, I don't know how to put this in a way that doesn't sound horrifically misogynistic. How do I put this in a way that doesn't, like, your force of personality, your charisma, should be the deciding factor in what happens around you, right? Your decision making, your ability to handle issues, your ability to talk to people and make what you're saying important and present to them should really be the deciding factor on whether they want to be around you or not, right? Whether a woman wants to be in a relationship with you or not, whether she finds you attractive. Because women are not like men, actually. Women, of course, women like visual things to a certain degree. And then beyond that, there are other things that are really important that men just don't really understand. Like, I don't know how to describe it. Mythos, I guess, like aura, energy, is actually way more important to women than it is to men. Right? Men don't even seem to be able to perceive women's auras, women's energies, when they're looking at a woman and assessing her for whether she's attractive or not. They are very physical and just say, right, here's a list of characteristics. Are these things within certain parameters or not? And there we go. I find her attractive now. Well, women are very different. For example, take in the Fallout show that Walter Goggins playing the Ghoul, right? He became a sex symbol as the Ghoul, missing a nose, hideously burned, because of the aura that he put across. Because he put across self-confidence, competence, self-assuredness. A man who is in control of his environment around him, even though he's hideously disfigured. And this, I've seen the effect myself, of not just when I'm doing it, but when other men are doing it, that women respond to this level of gravitas that you project far more than they are concerned about your height. Like, if you ask, there are loads of videos on the internet of someone interviewing a woman saying, "Oh, what's a man need to earn to be your boyfriend or whatever?" As if women have hard boundaries on this stuff, right? Like, don't don't ask women their opinions on men, because you'll get something that is, and it's the same with men and women asking men their opinions on women. You'll get the best possible scenario, which, yeah, okay, in the most ideal state of affairs, that might be the best thing you can ask for, but it's not probably what you're going to end up with. It's not probably what you would accept anyway. You would accept something that's a different standard. But also, there are often a confluence of traits that actually makes someone attractive to you. And if one or two of the traits that you do like, but uh, they just happen not to be present in that person, it doesn't change the mystique and the romance that comes out of that person. And so I've met men who are not tall, but have a a good way of projecting security, comfort, masculinity. And I've seen women flock to these guys. Like, I used to work at a laptop repair shop, and there was this younger lad there who he was quite a baby face, but he was really, really friendly and really charismatic. And I remember going out on the piss with him and just watching women flock to this guy. He wasn't like, a model or something, but he was a fairly good looking guy. But he had this kind of charisma that just made women want to be around him. They just really liked his presence. And so he was always surrounded by women when we went out. And I'm not charismatic like that. So I know I wasn't in that position. But you see it in action, and you realize that going on a dating app, whether they're just in isolation, being like, yeah, I'd like a guy 6'3", I'd like him to earn 500,000 a year, I'd like him to be this, I'd like him to do that. It's like, yeah, sure they would, but that's really not what women are actually like. Like, men might actually be like that, and I think this is men judging women's standards by the way that men judge their own standards, because women's standards just seem to just disappear when they meet a guy who is kind of enchanting to them, when they meet a guy who has got that kind of charisma, that kind of presence. And it's hard to give a standard, a direct sort of hard thing as well, because it's not the same. It's different in every guy. Like, some sort of like strong silent types are really attractive to some kinds of women because of the mystery. They want to get inside of the protective armor. Or you get some guys who are just hyper charismatic, like Russell Brand, and just bring women in. There's no mystery, there's no secret in there. It's just being in his presence is an attractive thing for a lot of women. And so the idea that like height is something that's really important is only important when it's a woman who's like looking for a hookup or something on a dating app. As I understand, Tinder is basically just a hookup app. I've never used Tinder, obviously, but this is what I understand from the young men who I've spoken to about this. And okay, yeah, fine, you're not built to be successful on a hookup app if you're 5'7". Yeah, I agree, you're not. But I mean, I'm not, because I'm fat, right? So it's like this is not how you win in the game. If you are not tall and you can't just attract women by the magnetic attraction of being tall, dark, and handsome, well, you have to develop another strategy, don't you? And actually, being present is way more important than having a series of checkboxes on an app. Because even if tall, dark, and handsome turns up, but he's completely uncharismatic, kind of autistic, is unable to tickle her mind in a way that gets her going, and some ultra charming, ultra friendly 5'7" guy turns up, that guy can easily steal her, right? Because what you are trying to do is make them feel like they're the center of the universe in a way. That's what a lot of women respond to. And if I've seen these charismatic guys doing it, I've seen them at work, and it's like, right, okay, that's very interesting how he got the girl and he didn't. And I don't want to name names, but I've seen men who are tall, dark, and handsome completely strike out because their personality is just no good in person. And so basically what I'm saying is stop using Tinder. It's just a hookup app. If you're not like, some ultra Chad guy who's super handsome that women will just throw themselves at without regard to your personality, I mean, you're not doing this for a relationship anyway, so don't worry about it. But if you're not that kind of guy, stop trying to compete in that realm. You're not going to win. Compete in a realm where you can actually win, which is go to a bar, talk to a woman. Like if you are actually charismatic, if you're actually charming, if you actually make her feel like there's something important about you and that she is important to you, then you can do really, really well for yourself. You can get a wife, you can get a family, you can get the relationship that you're looking for, but you aren't going to find it on on Tinder. So complaining that like focusing on height creates superficiality in dating. You're on a dating app, of course there's superficiality. Like a woman, like the picture doesn't capture your personality. That's the thing, and the personality really is the most important thing when you're talking to women. I don't want to sound like your dad here, right? But it is genuinely true that even if you're good looking, if you've got a crap personality, she is not going to be that into you, and you will lose her to a man who has a better personality, and vice versa. And so complaining, well, I want a slider that's based on weight. It's like, no, you don't. You just want someone who likes you, which means you should not be using Tinder. Tinder is not good for fostering actual relationships. Real relationships are actually built in presence because there's so many other things that are going on in an actual real life encounter between you and a woman you might be interested in dating that just can't be transmitted through the screen, right? The way that they feel in your presence is way more important than the numbers that come up on the side of the screen, than the attributes that you list. Like the comfort level, the interest, the feeling of excitement that they get being around you. These things are all way more important than just being like, oh yeah, she's only interested in 6 foot guys. She doesn't know what she wants, right? She is sat there with a complete blank slate and saying, right, what would my ideal man be? It's like, who cares what her ideal man is? Why does she have the freedom to think that, is what I'm asking you. Why is it that your presence in the room hasn't created a kind of mythos around you and a kind of legend that makes her want to know more about you? Why aren't you winning her over through the sheer majesty of your charisma? Why aren't your jokes irresistible to her? Where I mean, and we've all done it where you've been with a girl who quite likes you, and you're talking to her, and then you tell a joke and she starts giggling, and you tell another joke and you kind of get under the defenses, and she's just like a bucket of laughs at this point, and she can't stop herself, and she's clearly having an amazing time with you. And she's not thinking, oh, I wish that 6'2" guy on Tinder messaged me back. She's not thinking that, right? She's thinking, this guy is incredible. I can't wait to spend more time with him. And that's the guy that you want to be. Like the presence is everything. Like your presence in her company is everything. And the idea of like, oh, well, there's a height filter on Tinder. Who cares, man? Why are you talking about Tinder? Like, Jesus Christ. Go and impress someone. Actually go out and make something happen. Like, again, the way you smell, the way you look, the sort of the heat of your body when you're standing next to her, all of these things are things that are going into her senses and making her think, oh, actually, this guy could be half decent. And if you then just express yourself in a genuine, authentic way that shows that you are interested in her and consider her to be a person of value, well, you never know where that goes. And I mean, this happened to me. So, and if it can happen for me and other guys in the office, I'm not even joking. I can point to people in the office who are not very tall and yet have very beautiful wives and have families and have been married for years and have everything going for them. And they weren't held back by a height filter on Tinder. So stop worrying about this stuff, man. Like, this is not for you if you're not a tall guy. Get off this. Don't worry about it. Stop using the internet. Go out in real life. Meet people. Actually develop a personality. It's not something that's intrinsic to you. You've got to work on these things. But when you do, suddenly you realize that you have a power that women are interested in regardless of their abstract a priori preferences for the height of men. They don't care. What they're interested in is a man that makes them feel like they're living in a fairy tale. And if you can make a woman feel like she's living in a fairy tale, then you win at relationships. Then you win at life. This is how these things are done. And now I'm saying all of this, I'm thinking, am I making my wife feel that she's living in a fairy tale? I'm thinking, well, Probably not. Maybe I should do a bit more for my wife. Maybe I'll go and order her some flowers or something. Maybe I'll do something nice for her, just to make her feel like she's the object of my affections, because she is, obviously. Because I guess when you're married, it's easy to forget that these are the things that you did to make her feel like the most special woman in the world, because I think ultimately that's what they want. I remember dating a girl years ago who was trying to explain this to me, because I've always been autistic as well. And I guess when you're lacking confidence as a young man as well, where she put it in this way, she'd said, women want to feel cherished. They want to feel like they are something precious and important that is on your mind all the time. This is why another big thing is when women are like, I bet he's thinking about other girls or something. And the meme of, he's thinking about how to fix his car or whatever. Women want to be the thing that you think about when they're absent. They want to know that you care so much about them that you're thinking about them even though they're not there. And this is why presents are a really appreciated thing for women from men. I personally don't care if someone buys me presents or not. Like, that's not how I value anything, right? But I'm not a woman. I think completely differently. And these are all things that you would think would be passed down by some kind of tradition, but apparently they've been completely broken, and now men are like, no, they've got height filters on Tinder. Shut up, man. Why aren't you like, you'll have had a conversation with that girl and get her something that is a callback to the conversation, because then she'll know that you remembered what she told you and this was important. Now, don't be weird about it, obviously. You've got to, Kairos is very important. You've got to pick the moments. You've got to know what is and is not charming, etc., etc. There's no one rule for all times or anything like this. But the point being is, this is a total diversion to actually succeeding in your own love life. You don't need to worry about this. And I see so many people on Twitter are really bothered by this. It's like, no, get off the internet, get outside, develop a personality, develop your charm, develop your charisma, develop a skill that makes you competent in some arena. And then women who are also in this arena will look at you and go, okay, he's actually got something there that is attractive. Women are attracted to competence, because with competence comes status. And I'm not going to carry on going, but I look forward to Home Math's response video to me on this one. But remember, I'm the one who's married and he's not.